Am I the asshole for refusing to go on a family trip after they uninvited my girlfriend? I, F22. Just graduated recently and I'm in the middle of job interviews. My dad passed away in 2022, so now it's just my mom, my oldest brother and his twin sister, both 31, and middle sister, 30, and me the youngest. My family planned a 3-day trip out of town, and before I asked my girlfriend, F24, if she wanted to come, I made sure to double check with my family if they wanted to invite her. They said yes, and that she was welcome to join, so I told my girlfriend, and she was genuinely happy to be included. A few weeks later, yesterday, 2 days before the trip, they suddenly told me there wasn't a sleeping spot left and that my girlfriend couldn't come anymore. When I expressed my confusion, the real reason came out. They just wanted it to be only family, which honestly would have been fine if they had said that from the start. The problem isn't that my girlfriend wouldn't get to go, but the disrespect and dishonesty of uninviting her out of the blue and trying to cover it up as being a genuine mistake. I told them I wouldn't be going anymore because it felt wrong. I checked before, hand out of respect, and instead of owning up to their change of mind, they use a wee excuse that made me and my girlfriend look like an afterthought. Then things got turned around on me. They started blaming me, saying this all happened because I spent all my time with my girlfriend and never prioritized the family, which couldn't be further from the truth. I have never once said no to my family because of her. I still live at home and I'm currently working from my family's company, 8:30 to 5:30, while waiting for my interviews. My twin siblings also work here, but they clock in at 11 and leave early. On top of that, I'm always the one driving my mom to appointments, grocery runs, and random outings. My brother still lives at home, but rarely helps. My middle sister moved out after getting married, and my mom avoids asking my oldest sister because she's usually in a bad mood and hard to deal with. So by default, everything falls on me because I'm the easiest one. It's been this way for years. I've bent over backwards for everyone, and the one time I said my boundaries, I get called childish. My mom said it was just an honest mistake, but that doesn't undo how dismissive it felt. It's not just about this trip, it's about always being expected to absorb everyone's mood and still say yes. To add to this, my brother and his wife are expecting a baby in December, which I'm genuinely happy about, but it feels like everyone is using that as an excuse for why I should always be the one available because I am not married and have fewer responsibilities. Middle schoolers get petty revenge on mean teacher. My kid is in middle school and today they had a substitute teacher. I used to be a teacher, so my kid knows they better be nice and respectful, and they were until the teacher started to get mean. Mr. Meanie flips out and tells one student to go to the office. Student asks why. Other students start asking why. Then the whole class is asking why. Instead of explaining why, Mr. Meanie calls the office and says the student is refusing to go to the office and causing a disturbance. Counselor comes to get the student, and the whole class starts talking to the counselor at the same time, explaining what really happened. Mr. Meanie is livid and tries shouting over the students. Apparently, he was annoyed that the student was tapping her foot, so the counselor gives the whole class a 10 minutes break to leave the classroom while she handles it. Well, my kid and their friends come up with their own plan on how to handle it. Class resumes, and exactly 5 minutes later, every single student starts tapping their feet. And they make sure to not tap in unison or with any rhythm. They don't stomp their feet or use their hands. It's just a chaotic cacophony of 30-ish students tapping their feet. Mr. Meanie freezes, slowly turns to the class and says, "I'm sorry." All the tapping immediately stops and my kid said the look on his face was just utter defeat. Aid. My brother is a child. I'm writing this both to get it off my chest but also to ask for advice. I, female 23, am confronting what I did to my brother when we were children. There were 2 inappropriate instances. The first one was when I was 11 and he was 8. Some of my classmates have had their first kiss, and I was very curious, so I decided it would be a good idea to tell my brother to imitate that. It was an instant touch of our lips, but that doesn't really matter. The second instance was a couple of months later. I was still 11, about to turn 12. I was having sexual feelings for the first time and not quite understanding them. For some godforsaken reason, whenever I would fight with my brother, I would grab his private part. Never in a sexual way, never would do anything with it. It was a phase of maybe a month, maybe 2, that I would do that when we fought. It stopped after I started having a very initial form of awareness about sex and all things related, which happened soon after. But I never really reflected on it until now. My relationship with my brother is in shambles, because we have become ideologically and practically very different people. I am not necessarily looking to fix this, but I would like to do right by him and say sorry. Because when I imagine it being the other way around, I'm sure that such treatment from him would have traumatized me, or at minimum, it would have messed up my psychological development somewhat. So I'm thinking whether to open such a conversation and how. Whether it would be beneficial for him too and not just me getting rid of my guilt. I don't know why I did what I did. And I'm terrified to find out that this has impacted him. But I'm also ready to face it. I don't know, any advice is appreciated. Today I fucked up by calling a girl fat without realizing it. I was at a school mixer and had slammed down a few drinks from the open bar. I met some people from my class, and eventually we were in a small group. There were 2 girls there. While we were walking, the first girl said that she wanted to carry her. The second said that there was no way that she could. Without realizing it, I piled on, said, "Yeah, there's no way you could. I'd pay you $20 if you could." The second girl basically just said, "It doesn't matter because no one's trying." Issue is that she was overweight, but I just wasn't thinking about it. I was just saying that she couldn't because the first girl was shorter and smaller. I wasn't trying to make a jab at the girl's weight. Things seemed normal, and I remember that we could speak regularly after that, but when it was time to split, the first girl didn't ask me how I was getting home. I chalked it up to it being the first time we met, and the fact that she had said she could let the other 2 guys stay with her in her apartment if their commute was too far, but didn't want to imply the same for me since we didn't really know each other. But when I got home, I realized how fucking stupid I sounded and how it could have hurt her. I've been racked with guilt for the entire day, but texting her an apology would feel super weird seeing as we just met. I want to apologize face to face, but we're in different sections of school, so I have no clue when I'll next see her. Roommate's boyfriend sleeps on our couch when he stays over. My roommate, 22, female, recently got a boyfriend, 21. He is over at our house constantly, almost every day from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., and on the weekends he's over all day and usually stays at least one night. Now, I wouldn't have any problem with this, except that when he does come over, they never go to her room. They're camped out on the couch all day, and he has no concern about PDA, regularly grabbing her leg or butt, even when me and my other roommate, 23, female, are in the room. So it's already uncomfortable to use the common space when they're there. Not to mention, they leave a mess in the kitchen that never gets cleaned up despite her promising to do so. On the weekends, they're on the couch watching TV all day. Then when she goes to bed, he stays the night on our couch. This makes me uncomfortable as I like to hang out downstairs at night since it's the only time I get the living room, so him being there keeps me from doing that. Additionally, if I have to go downstairs for anything at night or in the morning, I have to worry about him being there. I asked my roommate if he could sleep in her room if he's going to continue staying the night, and she said that he usually only stays once a week, so she doesn't see the big deal. I've been staying at my boyfriend's house as much as possible to avoid being home, but I don't think I should have to feel so uncomfortable in a place that I pay to live. Is it unreasonable of me to not want him sleeping in our common area? Would I be the asshole if I told my mom I didn't want my kids to meet her boyfriend? My mom has a new boyfriend. Again, they've been together for 1 week. She wants my kids, 6 and 3, to meet her new boyfriend. She's so excited for them to meet. I'm feeling pretty uneasy about it, especially because just a few days ago, my son, 6, asked me if her last boyfriend had died. They broke up. It's also making my inner child a little anxious. My whole life, she chased men, hopped from man to man, and she never took it slow with introducing me to them. There was a new man on average every couple months, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. This started when I was about 8 and has gone on my whole life. I'm 29 now. Am I in the wrong for not wanting to introduce my kids to her boyfriend yet? How long should I wait? I just know if I tell her I'm not ready, it's gonna be some guilt trip like, you don't care about my happiness. She's really all about herself and plays victim anytime if something doesn't go her way. She doesn't think about how her actions affect others. My children are not something to show and tell. And also, I know how it feels to be promised and told things by people that just disappear. I was thinking of saying this. I know you're excited for your boyfriend to meet my kids, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet. The other day, my son asked whether your ex has died, and it really made me realize and remember how confusing and emotional it is when people come and go. What do you think? I have to be super careful about what I say. Nothing I ever say gets heard or understood by her. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate's boyfriend to stop staying over every night? I, 25F, share an apartment with my roommate, 24F. And when we moved in, we agreed that partners could visit, but not basically live here. Her boyfriend started staying over once or twice a week, fine. But for the past 2 months, he's been here almost every night. He showers here, eats our food, and never pays for anything. I finally told her it's getting out of hand and that he either starts helping with bills or limits his time here. She said I'm being controlling and that he's part of her life, so I should respect that. Now she's been giving me the cold shoulder and told our mutual friends I hate love. I don't care about love. I just want to be able to make breakfast without some guy in his boxers hogging the kitchen. So, am I the asshole for putting my foot down? My boyfriend talks like a therapist all the time, and it's killing our conversations. So my boyfriend, 25M, and I, 26F, have been together for about 6 months, and over the last few months, I find I cannot have a genuine conversation about any issues with him, like at all. Anytime I bring up a serious topic or something that's bothering me, it's like he talks to me the same way a therapist does. Instead of actually acknowledging anything, he always says, "I understand how you might see it that way," or something along those lines, even if the issue is something like him being chronically late to everything. He always says I shouldn't be making assumptions, and it always makes me feel like he's making himself the bigger person in any conversation we have. I can't even be mildly annoyed over something without him attempting to placate me somehow. I don't know if he means to, but it feels like he's always talking down to me. I feel like he's genuinely trying to do right by me and his friends, but it's getting incredibly frustrating. On top of that, he keeps calling girls who don't get along with his guy friends crazy and insane, no matter how many times I tell him it makes me uncomfortable. It feels like his friends can always fuck up and have the right to be understood, but nobody else can. It's exhausting. I just want him to have an actual conversation with me instead of never giving his own input. I just don't know how to bring this up without him turning it back on me. Is my girlfriend's mental health too bad for us to continue our relationship? I'm 32M, my girlfriend's 31F. We've been together almost 4 years. When we first met, she was ambitious and driven. But over time, I started noticing unhealthy habits, staying up all night, working and drinking whole bottles of alcohol alone. Early on, she threw a phone during an argument and it hit me in the face. She apologized and stopped drinking as much, and for a while things were good. Eventually, she moved in with me, but that was right when she burned out from work. She's an influencer. I supported her financially and emotionally for months and encouraged her to try therapy. She started and stopped several times, but never long enough to make lasting progress. She has serious trauma from a past abusive relationship and her childhood. I've always tried to be understanding, but it's gotten to the point where it feels like I'm sacrificing my own peace for her stability. Almost every argument goes the same way. I calmly explain how I feel, and she spirals into tears, panic, or just break up with me then. Even when she's the one in the wrong, I end up having to comfort her so she doesn't completely break down. It feels like my emotions don't matter anymore. A few months ago, she called me panicking over something she couldn't figure out and started accusing me of sabotaging her while I was literally on the phone trying to help. She later apologized and said she'd quit vaping because it made her anxiety worse. A month later, I found out she'd just been hiding it. Our intimacy is mostly when I initiate, and honestly, it's started feeling like another validation ritual for her not real connection. I've noticed myself getting colder. I don't yell, but my patience is thin and my tone is harsher. These moments happen almost daily. Sometimes it's a small thing, miscommunication, her assuming I'm upset, or a random panic over something minor, but every time it turns into a huge emotional storm. I've actually been thinking about breaking up since the spring. It started during my birthday trip. She kept going back and forth about plans and never booked anything, so I finally just reserved a 5-star beach resort myself, paid for everything, including flights. I tried not to resent her for it. But when we got there, she didn't plan a single thing. No excursions, no dinner surprises, nothing. She kept saying, "I feel like it's my birthday too." On my actual birthday, after I'd already prompted her and asked the butler, she requested a special dinner menu for me. The dinner was great until she got sick from wine. On the way back to the room, she said, "I asked for a cake. Not sure why they didn't bring it out." I wanted to explode because when the waiter asked if we wanted dessert, I'd said no since she was sick. It's like she just lets things happen to her, never takes initiative or thinks about me, and then gets upset after. The breaking point came recently. I had a long work day, and she promised to cook while I drove 45 minutes home. As I pulled into the garage, she texted, "Sorry, I fell asleep." It wasn't the sleep, it was the pattern. I'd gone to her childhood favorite band's concert the night before when I was exhausted and hungry, and she can't even follow through on something small. I don't even like the music, and even though she says she hates my music, I always show up for her. I texted, "I feel like I can never depend on you." She called repeatedly while I cooled off and went to pick up my food. When we finally talked, she cried, said I treat her like a slave in the kitchen, and spiraled until she had a full-blown panic attack. She was hyperventilating and screaming during the whole conversation, barely letting me explain how I felt. I've been to therapy and read The Body Keeps the Score. I understand trauma, but I can't be her emotional caretaker 24/7. I love her, but I'm drained, resentful, and honestly starting to detach. Someone kissed me while I'm in a relationship, and I feel so guilty about it. I have a boyfriend for a year now, and we were doing long distance. During this long distance, a guy who I considered a friend kissed me. I pushed him off of me, but I have been living with the guilt that I was even in a situation where he would have done that. I love my boyfriend so much, and I know that if I told him he would break up with me, it was around 2 months ago, I feel incredibly guilty, and I hate myself for it. But I also recognized I am in my late teens, and I'm a human that makes mistakes. Should I tell him? My neighbor actually asked me to turn down the sun. So this lady from across the street knocks on my door in the middle of the day with a super serious look on her face. I open the door thinking something's wrong, like maybe my car alarm's going off or something. She goes, "Can you do something about the glare from your windows? It's shining into my kitchen." I just stood there trying to process that for a solid 5 seconds. Then I said, I'll see if NASA takes custom requests. She didn't laugh, just said, "Well, it's really inconvenient," and walked away like I actually had the power to dim the sun. Today I fucked up by falling asleep in the hot tub. There's not a whole lot to tell about this story, to be purely honest. I was filthy and sore from work and figured a soak in the hot tub. It was a calming way to relax in the late evening and early morning. Unfortunately, I hadn't predicted how tired I was from work, and soon after getting in, nude because I live alone, I turned on the bubble massager and tried to relax. And I ended up relaxing too hard and soon fell asleep with the bubbling water at about my jawline. I startled awake when my head slipped off the headrest of the seat, and 105-degree water flooded my ear canal. Thankfully, that woke me up before my mouth slipped under the surface, but man, was that a shock. I hurriedly threw a towel on and made my way inside, and discovered that while I thought I had been out there for about 15 minutes, it had in fact been about 45 minutes. So yeah, thank goodness I didn't slip in earlier, but yikes. I was asleep for half an hour in that thing. Not an experience I'd wager people would repeat on purpose. Today, I fucked up by reading inadvertently, opening a message from my ex and reading what she's been going through. I was today years old when I learned that my friend of 30 years has been going behind my back trying to sleep with my ex-wife. He's married. I was his best man. Apparently, he's been using everything I've confided in him for the past 6 years against me. Our past, the ups, the pain, the hurt, the sad, the lonely, the gossip. We're men. We are the worst gossipers. In an effort to convince her to have a threesome with him and his wife. Also, he loaned us money back when we're married and has been trying to use that loan as sexual leverage over her, saying that he would erase her debts if she sleeps with him. Yeah, that's it for today's video, and as always, feel free to comment your opinion down below, and see you in the next one.